a very good morning and welcome back to Ostersund for continuation of the Biathlon World Cup competitions here. We've had the two long events, the individual for men and women, and today we go on the first sprint of the season, and it's the men who go first, racing over 10 kilometers. Conditions much colder than they've been over the last week or so. Martin Fourcade, of course, is one of those men that we need to. He has a shot advantage over everyone else, so he can miss one and still have a chance of winning. Nathan Smith going for Canada, the Canadians with a new waxing truck. It's not quite as fancy as some of the others, the Swedes and the Norwegians, but they've gone a great lengths to pick up a truck, and they've converted to a trailer as well. And so now the waxing team in a very, very good position. Tom Vitek is the man responsible for that in the Canadian team. Tim Burke with USA. He's on my list as top 10 fastest from the individual and had a good record here. He finished third in this race last year, so he'll certainly be starting off feeling good. How he's going to feel after the first prone shoot, we'll have to wait and see. Artem Prima going for Ukraine. 77 and 75% his hit rates throughout last season. He needs to boost both prone and stand by at least 5% if he's going to challenge this season. 36th last year. He can do better than that. A clear shoot, we should see him in the top 15, certainly 20, but I would hope the top 15. Now, next man away, Rastoguyevs. We saw him at the European Championships. He was sensational, and he finished, didn't actually race in the individual, not quite sure why. We were expecting to see something special from him. Great to say that he's picked up a sponsor at last. He's really been struggling to stay on the tour, and good to see that he's now got the funding that he needs, certainly all the way through to Christmas. And this man really needs to be supported by the IBU, because he maybe not after negative splits, but he certainly needs to even up his laps a little. Schlesinger, well, he's on form. He's on very good form. Only had one good race last year. That was in Oberhof, where he finished 5th in the pursuit. He's already bettered that this year by finishing on the podium in the individual event, hitting 19 shots out of 20. That's a slow-looking start from Schlesinger, but he's got again at the top 10 finish in this sprint event. Tim Burke from the USA, a slightly more conservative start than we've just seen from Johannes Bö. And the only depressing thing is, really the only man that the Americans can give splits against is Johannes Bö, and when he hears he's 11 seconds down after 2.1, I think he'll be a little concerned. Interesting position with the hands. Look how close the hands are together at the top of the double pole. Trying to get the power generated from the lats as opposed to the triceps. Now let's see what Rastoguyevs has done today. I think he's going to be inside Tim Burke. He is comfortably inside. 5.8 outside Johannes Bö. He won't worry too much about that. And Rastoguyevs, I think we're going to see him win at some stage this season. And then surely he'll get all the sport he needs once he proves he's a world beater. Not sure what his priorities are this year. A lot of athletes after the Olympic year just turning their minds to the overall World Cup. Martin Fourcade obviously looking to win the overall World Cup again, and he would be the first ever to win 4 in a row if he did it this season. And that looks like a really positive start from Martin Fourcade. Don't read too much into his 81st position in the individual. Once today, he is the Olympic champion, but he's now 40 years old, still closing in on that tally of 100 World Cup wins. But last year's Olympic win did not count, simply because it was taken out of the World Cup standings last year. Schlesinger, I actually think that Marit Bjørgen is going to beat him to 100 World Cup victories, because she's moved on to 83, just missing out a day. What a fantastic finish that was between Bjørgen and Therese Johaug. Now Tim Burke, 10 out of 10 would do nicely. exactly what he did last year. Have a look at the telltale flags, and the wind, which has generally been blowing from the back left, coming slightly from in front. Left to right. There's the first miss. Unfortunately, no close-up cameras on the target, so very difficult to pick out exactly where that miss went. Rastaguyev's 8.08. We'll just try and bring up the ski speeds as they come in. Well, so there's going to be a real opportunity for someone who shoots clear today. Johannes Bö we've mentioned. Other names that we need to watch out for. I think Lindström certainly. Semenov we know about. He's out on the tracks at the moment. Garanichev also from Russia, quick enough to win if he shoots clear. Svensson and Fack. Beatrix of France. Benny Vega, of course, from Switzerland. We've got Tim Burke from USA. Hasn't had the reaps the rewards of that. Maybe an extra second and a half preparation initially. Martin Fourcade. 7 seconds, and don't forget that Johannes Bö is already out on the track, so Martin Fourcade absolutely flying out there at the moment, and he's going fast enough to be able to afford a miss and still have a chance of winning. Schlesinger, he's about 7-8 seconds down on Simon Fourcade, who's just gone through and taken the lead with 8.58, so Schlesinger needs all 5. He's got them, and he's shot a lot. 0-0 last year, finishing in 2nd place. Now, what has Bjorndalen done? Compared to Fourcade, he's 14 seconds down after just 2.1 kilometers. So Martin Fourcade absolutely flying. Looks as though he's just blown the rust away with that run in the individual. He's coming down towards the range at the moment, Martin Fourcade. He started number 17. A full minute ahead of Uliane Bjorn. So, big moment for last year's champion. That's a lot of changes on the sights, both horizontal and vertical, but maybe he's been given some information out there on the track. That's perfectly legal. No coaching allowed in the range area. The first one's gone down, which will settle the nerves of both athlete and coach. Third one looked very central indeed. What about number 4? Little delay, but it's gone down. The clock reading 8.28. He's a long way inside everyone else. And Martin Fourcade is going into the lead here in Ostersund. Maybe he's going to defend the title that he won here last year. It's going to be very, very tough to beat him now. Well, he's still got a shot to go, but 14.5, his margin over everyone else. Still has the standing shoot to come, but in this sort of mood, I think he'll be very, very confident. Russia's number 1, Anton Shapulin. Careless on the last one. The rhythm was good. Now, Uliane Bjorndalen, who in the past always found the last shot the worst. No change in the sights. So the Norwegian rivals, Toby Eberhardt, who started first, another miss in the standing position. Ondrej Moravec now, the best of the Czechs on the tour last year. What a phenomenal Olympic Games he had. This is looking good. Experience still required, a lot to learn in this game. He's a fantastic talent, but just needs to control things a little on the... Well, that's a shame, another miss from him, so 2 penalty loops in all. Let's say an average of 23, 24 seconds, so 46, 47 seconds. There was up amongst the top in terms of ski speed in the individual, and I wonder whether that's just made him take a few risks too many today. Rastaguyev's going through the targets. 9 out of 10 will be good, and he could certainly improve on his best result last year. So Rastaguyev's has cleared 9 out of 10. Emil Hegler-Svensson, who has not missed a target in individual races so far this year. I know we've only had one, but he was the only man to hit 20 out of 20 on Wednesday. That's a good, solid start, but Andrei Morovitz currently sitting in second place, Simon Fourcade in third after this first shoot, and Svensson pushes Simon Fourcade off the podium. Of disbelief, maybe he has to just check to see how many miss so he knows how many loops to do. Mikhail Schlesinger clear on the prone. Will he suffer the same fate? Looks very calm. He set off with, I guess you could call it a conservative pace, slightly deceptive because he doesn't have the high tempo of some of the skiers. This is good. Let's have 10 out of 10. Great start to the season, and Schlesinger, who finished third in the individual, could go even better today. Watch the clock. 18:06 from Nathan Smith of Canada is going to be bettered by a significant margin. Shooting lanes 16 through to 30 in the standing shoot. That's why it takes longer to get to the timing wand. But that's excellent stuff. And Schlesinger with an 11.9 second lead. Now he needs to lengthen that stride and just up the tempo on the climbs if he's going to hold off the likes of Martin Fourcade. But great start from Schlesinger, 10 out of 10. And in fact, Nathan Smith, who had a poor individual, he's done brilliantly as well. 3 is the margin. .39 going through was Terje Boe, former overall World Cup winner. Nathan Smith going through. He's got the lead, but he only started third, so he'll be glad to take the scalp of Johannes Boe. Simon Eder shooting quickly and shooting accurately, so he's going to be within 15 seconds, I think, of the current leader Martin Fourcade, who should be down for shoot number 2 very soon. Fourcade starting number 17. I'll give him perhaps a minute to go before Martin Fourcade comes in for shoot number 2. In fact, he's even earlier than expected, and the time is phenomenal. 16:41 on the clock. He's got over a minute to get inside Schlesinger's time. 5 out of 5, and the race is his. He knows that at this stage. 4 out of 5, and he can still take it. This one for the win. Watch his reaction. Nothing at this stage of the season. Nothing at this stage. France get their first individual win of the year. Early days to be saying that, but no one's going to match him because he's skiing phenomenally quickly, and he looks as good as he did at any stage last season. The multiple Olympic champion, 2 golds and a silver out in Sochi. Of course, he won the overall World Cup last year in style, and he's got a lead of 35.6 seconds over everyone who's been in front of him, and that is the bulk of the favourites. Oleana Bjorndalen due in very shortly, but he missed on the first shoot. Emil Hegler-Svensson was, 13.9 seconds down on Martin Fourcade after his first shoot. Who else was close? Simon Eder, we need to keep an eye on him, 12.6 behind, and Jakub Fak was 12.6 behind as well. So I guess the only chance they've got is if Martin Fourcade fades on his last lap of 3.3 kilometres. Shapulin. Russians need a good result, didn't have anyone in the top 10. Their best was Yevgeny Garanichev in the individual. Bjorndalen, top right of your screen. Bjorndalen down in 16th after the first shoot with that one miss. 27 seconds down, so he's still skiing very nicely. There's the next miss. And an average performance from the Olympic champion. One of only 2 athletes using the bent poles at the moment. Be interesting to see whether they catch on. Nathan Smith coming into the finish. This Well, it's early days to say it, but it could well be his best result of the season. What's he going to manage? Started 3, and he goes into top place for now. 103 inside the next best. And remember that Nathan Smith finished 45th last year, and I think he was outside the top 50 in the individual. He was down in 54th position with 7 misses, so he's hit all 10 today. Potential podium finish. He's not going to match Martin Fourcade, but Moravec on 17:45 is in danger of being pushed down a place, and Granichev still has some 30 meters to go before the clock will stop. Tim Burke across the line, 17.9, 2 misses. So actually he skied very, very well, Tim Burke. He would have been comfortably inside Nathan Smith, but it's the Canadian who leads the Battle of the North Americans at the moment. Nice to see that the Canadians are stepping it up, even with the retirement of Legelic, who was their #1 star and really held the Canadian team together. Well, I guess he was the only one to do it back in Vancouver in 2010. But ever since those results from Legelic, the Canadians have been gradually moving up and closing in on the Americans. Rastoguyev coming down to finish 25.46 has now gone, but Tim Burke's 26.04 is going to be beaten. So the Latvian producing his first good run of the season. And as I say, you could do worse than put your money on this man winning a World Cup at some stage this season. Malishko settling just as Lowell Bailey of USA preparing for his first shoot. And this in the stand, and already some way behind the current race leader. Smith, Rastoguyev, Burke, Prima, the leaders in the finish area at the moment as we go back to Noyes, Emil Hegler, Svensson. Now, if he's very quick, very, very quick, he might challenge Martin Fourcade, but I think we're looking at second place. Oh, it's all 10. You have to hit all 10. Schlesinger coming into the finish line, and Schlesinger still lying in the top 4 after the second shoot. He's gone up a place, he's gone up into first place, so he's done exceptionally well. In fact, he was a little bit quicker. He was some 10 seconds quicker than Nathan Smith of Canada. So we would have expected that. We've got to wait and see whether Granichev and Moravec can match Schlesinger over that last 3.3. Beatrix of France, good clear shoot in the prone, and he's a potential podium finisher as well. Jakub Fak goes clear. Now that's exciting stuff, but Fak not skiing quite as well as we might expect, and he's going to be at least 15 seconds off the leaders. Moravec on 17:45. Fak of Slovenia be with that. 4 misses out of the 5. Now, we had 9 sprints last year, and we had 9 winners, but one of the athletes won twice. Confusing? Well, not really, because if you remember, Antolt, Schemp and Hoffer shared exactly the same time for the first time, sharing that win. And there you see, get a good look at the new design of ski pole. I think its effectiveness yet to be proven. Now here comes Martin Fourcade, 37.1 seconds ahead of everyone else coming down into the stadium area. All he has to do is stay on his feet, up around this little bend, brakes to his left, and then it's pretty much a cruise home to the finish. Another little sprint from Fourcade just to stamp his authority on this one. He wants the inside line. Best snow is really close to those bollards on the left. He may have missed out on the Olympic sprint title, but he was the man of the moment in Sochi. He was the man of the season last year, and don't forget he won both the individual and the sprint here in Ostersund last year. So Martin Fourcade, 38.9 seconds the advantage, and that is going to be unbeatable. 24.46 the time. Well, he's a minute 10 quicker than his time last year, Martin Fourcade, and he didn't miss any targets this time, whereas he hit 90% last year. Simoneda, 9 out of 10 for him. So Martin Fourcade has made his intentions clear. Anyone who thought he wasn't going to be in the running for today's race, I can see why, because having missed 8 weeks of training with his glandular fever over the summer, many expecting him to take at least until Christmas before we saw his best. But no, he's produced it today, and he's done it in some style. Anton Shapulin, 48.1, and I guess it's the sign of a champion from Fourcade that you can have a dreadful day and then follow that by a world-beating day. It's what we've seen from Oliane Bjorndalen many, many times. Svensson is also capable of it. Today, Martin Fourcade is the man who's done it. Moravec coming down into the finish just behind Oliane Bjorndalen, and Moravec, who started 30 seconds down on Bjorndalen, so he's done well time-wise. Moravec goes into second place, 28.3, and Bjorndalen goes into 5th place at the moment in the finish, 56.6 off the pace, having missed 2 targets. Moravec's delighted with that, 10 out of 10, but still 28 seconds down on Fourcade. So, having had Schlesinger from the Czech Republic on the podium on Wednesday, we could have another Czech. In fact, 2 Czechs in second and third at the moment. Moravec ahead of Schlesinger, Fourcade cleanly out front, and the top 3 have all shot the perfect score, but so has Garanichev, and Garanichev was only a second down on Moravec as he entered the stadium. Moravec's time, well, in fact, Garanichev losing a lot of time over the last 1,000 meters or so. 45 seconds behind in the end, and the margin putting him some 7 seconds down on Schlesinger, having had an advantage of 7 seconds. So he's lost 14 seconds on that last loop. Perhaps a fall, it is possible. Incidentally, Daria Domrasheva did take a fall on her last lap of the individual on Thursday. We didn't catch it on camera, but she pointed that out in the interview. She still won, but the margin just wasn't quite as big as we were expecting. She lost some 15 seconds to Kaisa Mäkäräinen on the last lap, and her skis hitting a stone, which is often the problem. Johannes Bo's had his problems. Terje Bo's had his problems. 2 misses in the stand, 17.25. It would have been a really good time. We would have been looking at a top 3 for Terje Bo. Emil Hegler Svensson with 1 miss. Is it going to cost him a top 5? 24.39 has gone. 48.3. It's close though, and Svensson might just claw something back. He was down in 7th place coming out of the range, and he was a second behind Anton Shapulin. He was some 8 seconds behind Mikael Schlesinger. Svensson certainly wasn't on his best ski form. He admitted that when he won on Wednesday. Malishko can't match his teammate Garanichev, who's the best of the Russians at the moment. So we've got Garanichev in 4, Shapulin in 5, and Malishko going into 11th. So it looks pretty good for the Russians at the moment. Here comes Yakov Fat, 30 seconds behind as he comes down the last descent. That's good enough to put him in the top 3 and put him ahead of Mikael Schlesinger. So a good run from Fat so far. Svensson manages 6, so a gain of 1 position since he left the stadium, but I think he's going to be pushed down by Fat when he comes in to finish. Here he is. Here he is. What can he do in the last 500 meters or so? Not sure that Jakub Fak has as quick a skis on as we saw from Martin Fourcade. That would have made a little bit of difference, but if he can limit it to 30 seconds, then he will go into third place. Moravec in second at the moment on 25.14. It's going to be very close. Fak just misses out, goes into third. Moravec survives in second, and Schlesinger down to 4. Welcome back in to Ostersund, just in time to see Simon Schempp finish his run. 104 off the pace. Take 30 seconds, that's a generous 30 seconds, but 30 seconds outside the lead would have put him into 4th place. So at least he knows what he could have done had he gone clear. Simon Eder would have been good had he shot clear as well. Bjorn Dahlen's time of 25.43 can't be beaten. Smith on 25.46 is safe, and Simon Schempp just shifted down 1 place. So Simon Eder moves into the top 3. Now, let's just try and catch up on some of the later starters who are going well. David Komat of Austria, not a name that you may be familiar with. He's only 22 years old. He did race really well in Oslo at the end of Landertinger. He can certainly do better than that. The Olympic silver medalist outside the top 20. Now, here is Pashenkin. Number 53. Podium possible if he clears all 5. Pulse rate at 173 coming in. It's now already down to 157, settling very quickly, but that 1 miss is going to be very expensive. But I think he's shown his potential. Has yet to get the straps on the over the wrists for the poles, but he'll build a little bit of speed first, and then just deviate to the left around the penalty loop and back out onto the course. Danny Böhm for Germany coming in, a clear shoot giving him a good result. 14th at the moment, 1:11 behind, and Danny Böhm he's just behind Eric Lesser. That will frustrate him. Lesser also shooting 10 out of 10. So some good shooting from the Germans. Simon Schempp has hit 9 out of 10, lying in 11th position at the moment. So he's just ahead of Lesser. Now, Mickey Rush, I'm sure a few of you want to find out how he's getting on. Of course, he found himself frustrated that he wasn't getting enough races in the German team, then he couldn't get selected, and has switched nationality to Belgium and started number 70 today. Rush missing 1 in the pro, and he's 107, so he's way off his best ski form at the moment. So 107 behind, having missed 1, so he's at least 35 seconds behind after the first 3.3 kilometre loop. Terje Boe, the second of these figures, coming in to finish 2 misses, take away 50 seconds. A 25.08 would have been a very, very good time indeed, but he goes down into 15th. Pursuit on Sunday, tomorrow, based on the results of today. Out of the 20 in the individual, that's really poor, and he'll be very, very frustrated with his start to the season. He's skiing okay, to be honest. The ski speed is respectable, but there's something going on in the range that he needs to put right. Pashenkin, who was right up there after the first shoot. That's the 22-year-old, new to the World Cup, as I mentioned, but he's made a pretty big impression. Take 25 seconds off this time, and Pashenkin would have been looking at a top 10, top 15. That would have guaranteed himself start positions in the next round of the World Cup, which I must just emphasise again, we are going to Austria. The initial plan, because of the fact that there was no snow in Austria, was to stay here in Ostersund. But Hogfilson desperate to host the event. They get big numbers in. It's an important week for that area of Austria. and they've gone to great lengths. They've been trucking snow, tons and tons of snow, down from, I think it's the Großglockner that they get their snow from. And they brought it all in. It means that there'll be a bit of dirty snow around. The temperatures have dropped over the last 48 hours, so they've now started making snow as well. Pashenkin, 17. He's got a lot of competition in the Russian team today. They're doing a whole lot better. Goranichev, Shipulin up in the top 10 still. And that's a good run from Pashenkin, though. Bodes well for the future. Os. Nice to see him back on the tour, the last of the Norwegians to start today. No mistakes with 3, 4 and 5. Not quite sure where round number 2 went, but an expensive miss for Alexander Os. And the time otherwise would have been pretty respectable. He would have been up in the top 5 or 6, so he's skiing well. Cleaned the standing targets. Now, what's Andy Bernbacher managed to do? Down in 21st position. Here's a man who's won World Cups. When he's on form, he's on fire. But that's not been the case so far this season. Had to work really hard to get himself a start position in this World Cup. He's been back on the IBU Cup, trying to notch up some impressive results. Doesn't look to be firing on all cylinders, Andy Bernbacher. And Danny Bohm on 25.58 is safe. Tim Burke still sitting in the top 20, another respectable result from him. But he did so well here last year, finishing 3rd. I think Tim Burke was probably expecting better today. Bernbacher's time, 26 minutes, 14.9 seconds, and just missing out on the top 20, but safely inside qualification for the pursuit. Does he need more racing? Does he need less? I'm not sure. He looks just that little bit bulkier than when he was racing so well. Finish, and I'm sure that he will have got all the information while he's been out on the tracks. Alexander Os, 1 miss in the prone. Wide spread with the thumb. You will have noticed a different way of supporting the rifle with the supporting arm. 0.8 behind. Alexander Os, 56.1, and well, that's not a bad run at all. That, if he can keep that margin, he'll move up into the got a late draw in Group 2. And remember, Bithlig's finishing 10th, in fact 4th here last year with a 1-0 shoot. So having missed 2, he's found himself a lot further down the order. Well, I think we're going to have a thrilling men's pursuit tomorrow. I'm not expecting to see anyone chase down Martin Fourcade, but we've got what, only 30 seconds separating positions 2 through to 10. Disappointing for them. They have, of course, lost Bjorn Ferry and Karl-Johan Bogman, both retired at the end of last season. Let's have a look at the top 10. Fourcade, well ahead of everyone else. Great race between Moravec and Fak in 2 and 3. That was a little quick. Schlesinger, Goranichev, Shipulin, Svensson, Bjorndal and Smith and Simonader making up the top 10. Well, just a reminder that the cross-country from Lillehammer next. Great looking conditions out in Lillehammer. They put a lot of artificial snow down for the course, but they've had a little bit of fresh snow just to give us that winter scene. And as always, the spectators are out in impressive numbers. The teepees have been up for the last couple of days, and they're looking forward to a real treat. Men's 10 kilometre should be a thriller. That's coming up next. And we leave Ostersund with the news that Martin Fourcade is back in winning ways. He's defended the sprint title he won here last year.